What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop and welcome to another video on cut Pokemon content. But before we get started, I've got a couple updates for you. First off, I have started a new Pokemon podcast over on the UCast Studios YouTube channel, and yesterday I gave my extended thoughts on all of the announcements from the Pokemon press conference on Tuesday, as well as some discussion on the upcoming Sword and Shield Direct. So if you'd like to hear my thoughts on those, follow the link in the iCard to check that out. I'm doing it every Friday, so be sure to subscribe to that channel as well so you don't miss any episodes. Also, since next week we've got the Sword and Shield Direct, next week will be completely jam-packed with Sword and Shield content. Everything from predictions to impressions to speculation on the news we receive, it's going to be amazing, so be sure to tune in and subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss out on that as well. Anyway though, as I said earlier, today we're covering the best cut content from the 4th generation of Pokemon. We've been going through every Pokemon region covering this topic recently, and now it's Sinnoh's turn. Just like Hoenn, there's not really a massive blowout for Sinnoh cut content like there was for the first 2 generations, but there is still some very interesting stuff that we can learn about, hence why we're here. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. Starting off with the small stuff, in pre-release screenshots for Diamond and Pearl, we can actually see some different sprites for Barry as well as the Team Galactic Grunts. Barry has a slightly different hairstyle that basically looks like his final hairstyle, just without any hair gel, and coincidentally, it's got that mop type of look that was really popular with boys in the mid-2000s when the game was released. I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought it was worth bringing up. Then we've got the Galactic Grunts, whose hair color is slightly different, being more of a true shade of blue, similar to the color of the admin Saturn's hair. Next up, we actually have a few key items that weren't used in the final game. First is none other than the SS ticket, which allows you to board the iconic SS Anne. Normally, this would probably give you an extreme amount of hype that maybe we were originally going to go to Kanto in this game, or at least another region, but the real reason it's here is likely because it's just a carryover from Fire Red and Leaf Green. Much less exciting, I know, but on the off chance there was some kind of second region feature planned here, it would have been incredible to say the least. Following that up is the Magma Stone. Now this one might actually ring a bell because it's an item that is actually used in Black and White 2 to summon the legendary Pokemon Heatran, but it was originally planned to also be used in Heatran's debut game in its debut location at Stark Mountain. Now why exactly this was removed is a bit unclear, as Heatran is still obtainable in the game, just not in the form of an event. It's likely that the Magma Stone was going to be distributed like other event items, thus making Heatran another event Pokemon, but was removed possibly to lower the number of Pokemon in the game who could only be obtained by events, which if that's the case, I'm personally thankful for, as being a kid and not knowing how events worked at the time definitely got a little frustrating. This next one is particularly interesting, and that would be the Red Chain. Now, the Red Chain is an item that is in the final game, it's just not obtainable by the player. It's what Cyrus uses to summon either Dialga or Palkia, and it comes from the Lake Guardians. This is present in the data of the game as a key item, which likely means the player could have originally been the one to awaken Dialga or Palkia instead of Cyrus, like in the final game. Moving on from the items though, we have the presence of a question mark type Arceus sprite. Now, prior to the days of Gen 5, question mark was kind of like a pseudo type, if you will. It didn't really count itself among the other 17 types at the time, but it was attributed as a type to moves like Curse, and this type had its own distinct Arceus variation that can be accessed through hacking. It's possible that this was made specifically with the knowledge that people would try to hack the game to give Arceus the question mark type, but what if there was a larger purpose for this originally? I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I like to keep these possibilities open, but we'll probably never know for sure. And speaking of Arceus, we of course have to talk about the Azure Flute event. Similar to Heatran and the Magma Stone, there's an item in the data of the games called the Azure Flute that would have been used to call Arceus at the Spear Pillar, which would have initiated a battle with it. This was going to be the way that Arceus was distributed in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, but it was cut because apparently it was thought that this event would be too confusing for players to accomplish, and this also affected Heart Gold and Soul Silver, as those games have data that would have allowed allowed a Hall of Origin caught Arceus to take the player to the Sinnoh ruins, just like we see in the final Arceus event. Now, personally, I don't buy that explanation for a second about it being confusing, because we've seen people play through this event with the help of a Game Shark or Action Replay, and there's really nothing complicated about it at all. So it's honestly a shame that it was cut, and instead Arceus was directly given to players in a later event, which we all know is just the worst way to handle event Pokemon. Another interesting component of the Sinnoh games is the fact that originally, Darkrai was going to be a roaming Pokemon as opposed to an event legendary like in the final game. There is data within the final games with which this can be accessed, and it makes a lot of sense as its counterpart Cresselia is also a roaming legendary. At some point though, it was obviously given its own unique event, possibly due to the fact that it got its own movie, The Rise of Darkrai, and they likely wanted to make Darkrai seem a little more important in the games because of this. Okay, now we're getting into the really juicy stuff. In all of the Generation 4 games, including Heart Gold and Soul Silver, amongst the part of the data of the games where the versus battle intros are kept, like the ones that are used at the beginning of the Elite Four battles, this image of a somewhat poorly drawn smiley face exists for some reason. And amongst the graphics for all of the various in-battle moves, this image of a blinking duck can also be found. So yeah, when I said we're going to be talking about the best cut content from Sinnoh, this is exactly what I was referring to. This next one is a bit different to previous entries in the video because it's hard to say whether it was even a piece of cut content at all, but it comes directly from the source at Game Freak, so I thought it was worth mentioning. During the pre-release period of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl on Yahoo's official Pokemon Diamond and Pearl webpage, it was implied by an employee at Game Freak that the types of the starter Pokemon in these games, which had yet to be revealed at that time, were Fighting, Psychic, and Dark instead of the standard Grass, Fire, and Water. Now obviously this didn't happen, but the fact that this was implied by a Game Freak employee on an official Diamond and Pearl website suggests that this could have at least been considered at one point, if not legitimately implemented. And to round off the video, I'm sure you all know of Jubilife City. It's the town in Sinnoh with not only the most people, but also some of the catchiest music as well. This town distinctly lacks a gym in the final release, but that might have not always been the case, as there is an unused map within the city next to the Pokémon Company headquarters that suggests that a gym was originally going to be here. This actually makes a lot of sense, as not only is it the third city you encounter in the region overall, which virtually always contains a gym in one way or the other, but it's also the largest city in Sinnoh, and every other region's biggest city, outside of Alola of course, also houses a gym of their own as well. And there we have it, everyone. That was the best cut content from the Sinnoh region and the 4th generation of Pokemon. I honestly hope we find out more from Gen 4's beta stages in the future like we did with Gold and Silver, but what we know now is still pretty interesting. If you guys enjoyed the video though, be sure to give it a like and let me know in the comments below what you think of all this cut content, and if you're new, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content every week, including a ton more Sword and Shield content starting next week. Also, if you want to support the channel further, check me out on Spotify and listen to my Pokemon remixes, because that helps out the channel a lot and directly makes a difference and is sincerely appreciated. With all that being said though, I'll be back on Tuesday with another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can know when it goes live, and with all that being said, I hope you know I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.